Hey there, tech fans. Rick here again with another Gadget Friday. And today I have a really cool piece of technology that I hope you'll find interesting. It's the Novamos ring light kit. And the reason they call it a kit is because they include pretty much every accessory you'll need to use this in a lot of different situations. Now, the thing that makes it really interesting to me is unlike a standard ring light, which is basically a fixed light that you turn on and it's in a circle and it casts perfect illumination on a subject, so it eliminates the shadows. It allows you to put a camera in the center of it and take a picture of something and not have to worry about having dark and light areas on the subject. But what's different about this one is that it's composable, and I'll explain what that means in a minute, but your first clue should be the fact that it's not a perfect circle, it's actually a hexagon. And it's interesting because you can reconfigure this to be a bunch of different lights, and I'll get into that in a minute. But before I get too deep into the overview, I always like to do an unboxing, and boy am I excited to do an unboxing on this one because the company could have just sent you the light with a power supply, but they included a ton of accessories that allow you to use the ring light and all the configurations you can put together with this light in a lot of different scenarios. So when you first open up the box, you'll find the ring light kit, which is basically 6 sections that can be joined together in different configurations with these specialty connectors on the back. They also include a really nice phone holder here that slides in. They include a power supply, which you can plug directly in the unit. One power supply will light all the segments at the same time. They include a cable that splits that single power supply into 3 different connections, and they include 3 tripods. So when you break this apart, you can actually create fill lights with it, and 3 of them on the tripods, and power them from that same power supply. They also include a really nice ball head here that's got a 1/4" 20 on the top, female 1/4" 20 on the bottom, which you can use on any of the tripods if you need to angle a light or make changes to the way it's casting the light on the table. They include 2 bags. So the first bag will hold all the accessories. The second bag is made for the tripod, and they include a full tripod. This is a pretty nice standard tripod that you can use to mount this on the top of, put your phone in the center of it, and just create content to your heart's content. So everything you need to do YouTube videos, video streaming for gaming, or if you're going to do product reviews, the ring light is an essential light that you're going to end up picking up as probably your first illumination device. Now, what makes this so cool, and this is a clever design because a lot of other companies out there sell ring lights, and ring lights in general are pretty basic products. If you're getting a good one, you'll get one that has the ability to change the temperature of the light from soft white to bright white, so you can dial between those different settings to give you sort of a very soft look or a very bright look if you're taking pictures on a desk. You also want to make sure that you can adjust the brightness of the ring light. Some give you that ability, some are maybe 3-step settings where it's low, medium, and high. This one gives you complete control over the brightness and the temperature, so you can change it to be a very soft setting if you're doing video reviews and you're up close against the camera, or if you're taking photos of objects on a desk or on a setup, you can actually turn on the bright white, which is going to give you a lot of detail in there, but they also give you control over the brightness, so you can step it up and step it down to your heart's content. But what really makes this special is the fact that I can break it apart and I can actually create fill lights with it, which is another type of lighting that most people use when they're doing product reviews, where fill lights are sort of individual lights that sit off to the side of an object when you're taking a picture to create shadows, to create a little bit of interesting depth on the products, and you'll end up buying a ring light and a couple of fill lights if you're going to be doing a lot of photos of objects on a desk. The best part about this one is I can use it when I need to as a ring light, and when I'm doing product images on a desk or I'm trying to take a picture of something and I need additional lighting, I can break this apart and create 6 individual fill lights or 3 bigger fill lights or even 2 gigantic fill lights just by snapping these sections together. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Now, what again is clever about this is that that's not an easy thing to do because the segments themselves are easy to power, and each of these have an individual power port in the back, but making them work together, to join them together, to pass that electricity between those segments is a little bit tricky, and that's where the wizardry comes in. They built these connections on the back that snaps together and continues that electricity all the way through the lights to light them all up with one single power supply. The other thing is the joints that connect these segments, and I'll show you that in a minute as well, are flexible enough where you can move it to different positions. So if you want to get creative and you can make letters out of it, you can make a triangle out of it, you can build it to be kind of a cool display for your back wall if you're trying to draw attention to something. So in addition to being a ring light, which it does a great job of, it also allows you to have a lot of other different lighting options using the same kit. So that's going to save you money in that you don't have to buy a ring light and a fill light. You can use this for both of those functions. Now, if you stay tuned, next I'll take a closer look at the unit. I'll show you how those connectors go on and how you can vary the distance or the angle between those different segments. And I'll come back with some final thoughts at the end because I've got a lot of ring lights here at the shop I use for different pictures that I'm taking, or if I'm doing a real quick Zoom meeting with somebody, I may have a ring light on to illuminate the background behind me so I'm in clear focus. But this one has become my favorite one because it's so flexible that I take one ring light with me and I can do a lot of different things with it. So stay tuned, we'll take a closer look next, and I'll come back with a few extra points at the end to explain why it's different than a lot of the ring lights on the market. Inside the kit, you'll find the 6 lighting segments. You'll find 6 connection blocks, 5 of which are active, 1 that's passive. You'll find a power supply that's used to supply enough energy to light all 6 segments at the same time. And on that power supply is a remote control you can use to turn it on, adjust the brightness, and adjust the color temperature of the lighting. You'll also find a Hydra cable, which will take that one single power supply connection here with a female 3.5mm port and convert that to 3 male ports that allow you to light up 3 different segments that are disconnected from each other. You'll also find a really nice bag to handle all of the accessories that are included. As far as the mounting kits go, you'll find a full-size tripod here with a bag included to hold that tripod, 3 small desktop tripods you can use if you break these into individual segments and position them around your desk. You'll find a really nice phone clamp that you can use to hold your phone. It's got a cold shoe mount on the bottom with a flexible gooseneck to allow you to position the phone in that perfect position and then slide this into any one of the segments. You'll also find a ball head joint, 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch on the bottom, complete control over how that's positioned. And that's great if you're using the full-size tripod to adjust that light ring to the exact angle you need. And then finally, there's an assembly guide that explains how the connection blocks are used with the lighting segments, and a DIY assembly guide that shows you a couple of different suggestions on how you can configure these lights to get the best use out of them. The real magic of this solution is the fact that it's totally composable, and what I mean by that is you can certainly snap these together to create that ring light that I showed you in the overview, which is basically a hexagon of these segments joined together, but when you break them apart, you can create all kinds of cool things. So for example, here I've got a single fill light, I've got a double fill light, I've got the letter C, and if you're really an artistic person, you probably could spell out a bunch of words making, different configurations with these lights. But really what it's coming down to is that the system is comprised of 6 of these light segments, which again snap together in a lot of different configurations. So let's take a look at the light segment first, then I'll explain how you join them together. So each of these can be individually powered, so there's a power port in each of them. So if you wanted to create a simple fill light, you could plug this into the power supply, put it on a tripod, point it at your subject, and still have total control over the temperature and the brightness of the light. But where it really gets interesting is snapping these together. So I do use this as a quick fill light if I'm taking a photograph of something. If I need more light, I'll snap 2 together like this, and it'll create double illumination with total control again over the brightness and the color tone. But I love the fact that it's so flexible. Also, you'll notice there's a 1/4 inch 20 on the top and 1/4 inch 20 on the bottom, as well as a cold shoe right there. So when I put this out as a fill light, I could snap a microphone on the top, I could snap the camera on the top if I'm doing sort of video conferencing or something like that, and I still have plenty of light shining that direction. Now the way these connect together, again, I mentioned each of them have an individual power port on them, so you plug the power supply in right there, and the way they send that power to the next segment are through these connection blocks. And there's 2 types of connection blocks. You'll find 5 of these that actually make an electrical connection, and 1 that I'll call a dummy block. If you're building that light ring, this is the last one you'll pop in. If you're building any of these others, you're going to definitely want to use this connection block to pass that electricity along, sort of daisy chain along to the next light. And when you're snapping these together, it is a little bit tricky in that port where this snaps into has a bit of a personality. So if you look closely at it, in the center, you can see there's a 3.5mm port right there, and there are connectors here. So I'm sure there's a heavy-duty wire running between these 2, and that plugs in the center. And then on the outside ring, there is a bit of an orientation to it. So over here I've got a long slot, and here I've got a short slot, and over here I've got the same. I've got a nice long connector, or I should say bulge, and over here I've got a shorter bulge. And you make sure you line those up. So when you're connecting this, you want to make sure the longer one is lined up with the longer one. So in this case, it's going to flip in this way to connect. You'll pull back on this right here, and then basically snap it in like that, and then you're good to go. Now here's the really cool thing. If you're trying to make different shapes, this is locked in a 90-degree orientation right now relative to this light, but I can lock that by pulling this back in a 45-degree, a straight line degree. So if I'm going to make a really long straight line of these, I can snap them together that way, and I can flip it up this way. Now the only thing to remember is when you take this off, it has to be oriented the same way. So you're either going to have it up or down to take it off the block. Now in this case, we know it's backwards. I can't get it off the block. But if I spin it down like this and pull this lever back, I can pull that off the block, and that's because I've got the longer segment lined up with the longer slot. And again, the beautiful part is I can create a ton of different configurations of this depending on my needs really quickly, and then light up a particular scenario. So there's a lot of times where I only need a little bit of lighting just to sort of illuminate something I'm taking a picture of. I'll use a single segment on a tripod and light that up. But other times I need more lighting, I'll do this. If I'm trying to be a little creative, maybe I'll create a word or something out of this to do something there. I haven't done that yet, but I've seen people that do that. So really the limit is your imagination on how you're going to create this. But for me, the value of this is it's both a ring light and a fill light in one kit that I can, in a couple of minutes, literally reconfigure it to be either of those two things or somewhere in between. So I think from a design perspective, it's just really a brilliant product from a lighting perspective as well, because it's eliminating the need for me to buy a dedicated ring light and buy dedicated fill lights. I've got all that in one kit. I hope you found that closer look helpful. Now I'll show you a few ways that I use this light around the shop and point out some of the features that really separate it from a lot of the other ring lights that are on the market. So for starters, if you set it up like this in a ring light configuration, you'll plug the power supply in. You'll find a control right here that allows you complete adjustment of both the brightness and the color temperature. So you can turn the light on by tapping that button. Right now I've got it in bright white mode, but if I want to knock down a little bit on that intensity, I can put it into medium mode or even soft white light mode. Now that's perfect if you're going to do any kind of Zoom call where you don't want to have a lot of white light glaring off your eyes and off your skin. That soft white lighting is perfect for that. But if you're taking pictures of a subject on a table, you might want to go back to bright white, because that's going to throw a lot of illumination down at your subject without creating a ton of shadows, which is really nice. You also have complete control over the brightness levels, and you have 10 different levels there. So that's the brightest, and you can step down through those to get down pretty low. So you could get down to a situation maybe here where you're at 1, where you don't need a lot of light because it's a very bright room, but you just want to throw a little bit of light on the subject. And that's something you don't find on a lot of other ring lights that are out there. They may give you 1 or 2 steps where it's bright or it's low, or maybe no adjustment whatsoever over the temperature. And that can be a problem, because if you're going to do Zoom calls, you're going to want different style lighting, different temperature lighting than if you're doing product reviews and you're trying to take a picture of something on your desk. Now, the thing I really like about it, and I think really the main advantage to the product, in addition to the fact that it includes so many different accessories, is that it's composable. And I can't stress that enough. Unlike most ring lights that are out there that are just basically stuck in a circle, which work great if you're going to do, video production, you're looking at it, you've got a phone in the middle of it, or you're taking pictures. This one's composable, so I can break it down from a ring light and use it as a ring light when I need it, but then break it down and create 3 individual fill lights that I can use the 3 tripods for. Now, I don't know if I pointed those out in the unboxing, but they include 3 desktop tripods. And when I pop this light apart, like I showed you a few minutes ago, I can put them together as 2 lights in a brick and have 3 bricks around the table to create 3 individual fill lights by using this Hydra cable right here, where I plug the power supply into it and fire up all 3 of those light stands at the same time. And that saves me the trouble of not only buying 3 extra fill lights and charging 3 extra fill lights, but the fact that I can move it back and forth between the different use cases is really powerful. The other thing I didn't point out, I don't think in the review or the closer look, was on each of these, there's a 1/4" 20 female on the top and the bottom, so you can use anything that screws into a 1/4" 20, like a microphone up top here. It also has a cold shoe mount on the top and the bottom, so I could add a cold shoe up here with a microphone on it. There's just a lot of different ways to attach things, and I love the fact that they include the clamp for your phone, because you can open up the box, set this thing up on your desk, clamp your phone in it, and be doing video reviews in a matter of minutes using this beautiful fill light. So those things are all important to consider. And then the final icing on the cake, if you will, is the fact that they include so many accessories. I can't get past the price of this product when I consider all these accessories. If you just add up what they're giving you as accessories beyond the fill light, this is almost as much as the cost of the product. So the full-size tripod, you can use it for this, use it for other things. The desktop tripods are great. I love the ball head because it allows me to put it on the tripod and adjust it as I need to get that perfect angle. I don't know if I mentioned this in the unboxing, but they also include a DIY guide that shows you a bunch of different configurations you can create with this, as well as a lighting guide to show you how you snap those segments together. So overall, I think this kit is a tremendously good value. But for me, the bottom line, the real value of this product is, unlike a standard ring light where you're stuck with a ring light and you've got to buy fill lights, with this one, it's sort of both. You can make it a ring light, you can make it fill lights, and it works just great. So I hope you found this review helpful. If you're interested in this, I've got a link below where you can go to Amazon and check it out. We get a little bit of kickback from Amazon if you use that link to buy the product. But the reason I do these clips is because I'm always investigating new technologies, and I spend a lot of time around high-tech gear. And when I find something I like this particular product, I love talking about it in the channel. So if any questions you have about this product, product, please drop those in the comments below, and I promise to answer them as quickly as I can. We're approaching the holidays. If you're a fan of the channel and you've heard about our 12 days of Drone Valley Christmas, you might want to keep an eye on the channel around those 12 days because you might be seeing this up there on one of those days for grabs. So anyway, thanks an awful lot for watching, and until next time, stay nerdy.